Welcome to the YoggNation, the Spirit of Gratitude podcast on the One Integration platform. Hello, friends. My name is Yogesh Patel, and this podcast focuses on bullying, self-awareness, and our inner spirit, inviting high-profile guests to share their experiences on these relevant topics. And today, my next guest is Roberto Hernandez, a high school teacher based in Chicago who was season 17's winner of NBC's hit TV show The Biggest Loser back in 2004, losing an astounding 160 pounds. Pretty remarkable. Today, he shares his experiences on the show, his upbringing, and what it's like to be a high school student in today's climate, which that I'm very eager to understand. Well, with gratitude, welcome to the podcast, Roberto.
Thank you for having me, Yogi. I'm really excited to be part of this, and hopefully, some of the information that we pass out inspires people to get good health and help somebody. So,
Yes, it's all about doing good in society today.
yes, definitely.
Well, curious. Let's go back to your roots, Roberto. Your father became the man of the house at age 7. What? That sounds, oh my goodness.
It sounds terrifying, but we've always believed that God has everything for a purpose, does everything for a purpose, and at the age of 7, my grandfather passed away, unfortunately. So it left my wife, not my wife, my grandmother, Carmen, as a widow, and there needed to be a man in the house. And my dad, at the age of 7, put on those pants, as the Mexican culture says, ponen los pantalones. He put on his pants and went to work, and he sacrificed his youth for his mother, obviously, and his brothers and sisters that were looking up at him because he was the oldest. And
Did you ever ask him what, I mean, how he got so mature at age 7, or did he learn to adapt? It's incredible. I mean, at 7 years old, you're still trying to learn how to eat your vegetables.
yeah, definitely, it was always a shocker when he would talk about it at a point where he would say, I just had to do it. He's like, at that time, there was no, okay, I still play with toys. No, he got up and luckily, his uncle, my grandfather's brother at the time, mi tío Vicente, he was like a big brother because they were closer in age. I think my uncle was maybe in his late teens, so and he was 7 years old. So he took him under his wing, and they helped. He helped raise my dad a little bit in the workforce and stuff, and doing the things that he did throughout his youth to be able to provide for his family. So, yes, it must have been a very amazing. It's an amazing accomplishment, but it must have been a shocker for my dad to say, "Wow, I gotta go do this." One day, Grandpa's there, and the next day he's the man of the house, and he that was some of the stuff that he installed in us. I have uh, I have 3 brothers. Well, they're all older brothers. I have a twin brother that you guys may know as Luis Hernandez. That was the at home prize winner on the show itself, and then I have 2 older brothers that he helped raise with my mom. So it was he was a great father, and a lot of the stuff that he did as a young man and as a young adult, he brought into us, and he expected us to. He would always say, you hear it from people, it's like, what, there was times where I was at my friend's house, and yes, we were playing for a little bit, and his mom was like, all right, it's dinner time, come on in. My dad was Arturo. He's like, Arturo, come and have a taco. And he didn't know he'll get up and run home just because he did not want to bother other people. So, and he always installed that in us. He's like, you are a man of your house, and you always look after your own family, and you never bother other people.
That's incredible. What did you learn from your father? I mean, as you grow older and you became a parent and father yourself.
A lot of the things that I would always kind of like were upset that he was so strict on us, and like, why are you out so late, or why aren't you doing your homework on time, and things like that. A lot of the stuff I feel myself doing it now. A lot of the things like our religion belief.
What goes around comes around.
Yes, a lot of the stuff. Like I wish, and I think every son or daughter that's ever lost a parent, they always wish that they would have done a lot of, or sat down and listened with of what their parents spoke, and I think I wish I would have, because a lot of the stuff that I'm going through now with my kids, I see a lot of the stuff that he did with us, and at the time, I feel like, oh, come on, here we go, another discussion with dad that's going to just lead to an hour, and I just want to go outside play basketball or go out with my friends and stuff like that. But a lot of the stuff that he installed in us are coming out to the front right now. And all my kids. Now, if I have four kids, I have a 26-year-old. I have a what's Jacob? Jacob is 14, going on 15, and I have Emilio, who is 10, going on 11 in a month here, and then my baby, who is 4, going on 5. So all my three boys and my girls, and my one girl, I see a lot of myself. I see a lot of my dad in myself now, not like I used to be when I was younger, but now that I'm getting a little older, I guess old age bring wise thoughts. So
It reminds me, the older I get, the wiser I get, and the wiser my father becomes.
you know what? You put it better than I did. Yeah, a lot of the stuff that my dad did say to us made a lot of sense. Like he always had like a sixth intuition. Like he had a sixth sense that he knew how to talk or not talk. He knew how to tell people's personality within 5 minutes, and he would always say, "I don't like that friend," but he's a cool guy. Whatever.
Right? I mean, times were different. I mean, I guess with today's technology, you get less of that intuition build, in my opinion. I don't know. Is that
Definitely, we're stuck on these things. We're always want to be on the phone, and I catch myself as an adult doing it more and more often. But yeah, a lot of these kids, and we see it in the classroom. They're not able to. I don't want to say communicate. They're not able to establish relationships. Sometimes, even when I have bookwork, there's always one or two kids in the room that's like, I'm afraid to talk to somebody that, hey, you want to work together or something. So technology is.
you're a high school teacher, but what studies?
I teach phys ed, health, and I'm also a driver's ed teacher.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
I'm primarily a health teacher right now, but I do teach PE, and then driver's ed is more of a summer school thing or like after school thing. It's extra time for me.
Interesting. And I guess as a high school teacher, again, what do you see in today's kids with respect to their outlook in life and, possibly get into social anxiety?
I work in a school that it's a little tough sometimes. We have different types of students. We have students that have a great establishment at home, and parents are strict. The parents are kind of like the upbringing that I had, and then we go from one end to the other, where we have students that parents are not really involved, but the kid wants to be in school, he wants to learn, and then you have the kids that are just going off of, all right, I'm just here because I have to be here because my parents threatened me that if I don't come to school, they're going to get in trouble with the law and stuff like that. And we have kids that come in well fed, and we have kids that they depend on the 3 meals that we give them: breakfast, lunch, and then if they want to stick around after school, we also provide a meal for them. So we teach different types of kids throughout the district where I work at.
What do you see as a common thread in all of them? Or again, I guess it's unfair to ask this generalization, but I'm just curious about their outlook in life and perhaps what gives them some social anxiety, because that's something that is certainly a very large stereotype, right? I'm guilty of that as well. I apologize, but I'm here to learn, right? I'm here to learn from you as you have boots on the street.
Yeah, it varies. We have a couple kids that can live in a rough home and then come to school, and that's their sanctuary. That's where they feel safe, and they're not worried about anything happening to them in school. I mean, even though you do see across the country sometimes, some bad apples that take advantage of kids, but for the most part, we know that we have kids that are going to come to school that are suffering from a very bad home life, and our job is to treat them like an everyday thing. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you're here in school, you're here to learn, and it's a structure, and so that helps them at school.
Interesting structure.
The structure, yes. They got 6 classes, so they know they're going from one class to another. One teacher, Mr. X, might be a very strict teacher, but Mrs. S is not, and oh, here I'm gonna go to Mr. Hernandez's class, and he's in health, and we're gonna talk about this. So it kind of helps them, and it starts off with the idea they forget about what's going on in their bad home life, or and this is just for the kids that have that, right? But it helps them to realize it, and then you got kids that we have to talk to and explain to them like this is the place where you get to forget about everything that's happening at home or on the streets when you are out there. This is the time that you just need to relax and want to be here to be able to get the education that you deserve and that's going to help you later in life.
Wow. So that's really mentor like.
We do. Like again, like I mentioned, we have kids that they go home and they have a very good structure at home. Then we have kids that they don't know where their next meal is coming home when the school is not open for them, like on a weekend or COVID was really tough. So it was one of those things where the school and all across the country it happened. Not just at us, but the school had to provide food for the kids, and I remember that was one of the things that I felt so proud of that my district wanted to stick up and stand up and help these kids get their meals in. But again, how does it affect them socially and mentally? It's one of those things where they have to focus. They have to realize once they realize that the teachers are there for them and they care about them, that's when they start opening up. And it normally doesn't happen that freshman year where I get them because the school that I work at, it's only freshmen, and so our kids go to the big house. We call it the big house after us, and they go over there. But at our building, it's only freshmen, and you start seeing that just before they leave, and it's a really nice thing. I only get the kids for a semester because I'm a health teacher. Because they have health, one semester, PE, or vice versa. They might either start in health, go to PE, or PE, go to health.
So did the kids want you as their teacher? Or did they say, oh, Mr. Hernandez, he's not a good teacher. He's mean.
One of the things is a compliment coming from teachers is that kids tell other teachers that we're too strict, because that's just saying, oh, if I go to Mr. Hernandez's room, I'm gonna have to work. He is gonna hold me accountable, and that's the one thing. Yeah, I am a strict teacher. Like I might make my kids pick up their pants before they walk into my class. You look good, you feel good, and you do good. And that's my comment as soon as they come in. You're just not hip like us. I'm like, I'm hip. You know what I mean? I always joke around with
Chicago Cubs cap, you're hip.
Yes, right. A good bad thing is if you can't wear it in school, but it is we do come across. I do come across as a strict teacher, but I try to make the experience in class fun and a place where they want to learn. And I do this one thing called Makeup Friday. So we're working hard Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday's Makeup Friday. So I'm gonna let them work on their makeup work in case they miss some assignment in my class. They gotta finish what my assignments first before they start working on other classes' assignments. And those are normally the kids that are the ones that are always on it, and they're either working on other class assignments or if they're all caught up, then they have a few minutes to relax and just enjoy their friends that are also caught up in class. But that they look forward to it because I put on The Biggest Loser, and I justify that because I'm a health teacher and it's a health show. So I put the show on and the kids get to do their makeup work and enjoy the whole idea of okay, he's rewarding us. He's giving us time for ourselves to make sure we catch up in case I didn't get to work on it earlier in the week. But now Mr. Hernandez, and so that kind of wins them over. They look forward to this Friday. Any kid that had all their assignments turned in, I ended up giving them bags of chips, and so the kids were coming up. Oh, I finished my 2 assignments this week. Here's your bag of chips. And so that's another reinforcement, not just because they get to eat, but the fact that they get rewarded for the hard work that they get, kind of like a paycheck at the end of the week. So
it looks like you've built a lot of trust with these kids, and I was just curious if they've ever come to you about being bullied or cyberbullied, and how have you responded or dealt with that as a high school teacher?
The bullying is going to be everywhere. It's going to be it's something as simple as them like making fun of somebody's shoes or your haircut here, or
Is that really bullying or just teasing?
I you look at it, if it makes someone feel bad, then yes, it's bullying, right? If you're teasing somebody, you're gonna be like, they're probably friends, and but any point where they're coming to the point where the other person feels uncomfortable or feels um, uh, how am I trying to say this? They feel like they're being excluded from the rest of the kids, or they're trying to tell them that you're not part of us. Then that's bullying, and that's not allowed in my classroom. And I'm pretty sure that most of the teachers in our school are going to say the same thing. You don't have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. You know what I mean? Like I told one student one time, I'm like, there's a difference between you telling, hey, your shoe's untied to a student, be careful, to, hey, you're an idiot. Look at you're gonna trip over your clothes, trip over your own shoes. You can't even walk. There's a big difference in that, even though they're friends. But has a student ever come up to me and say that they've been bullied? I don't want to say that have had any students, but we have noticed. You're gonna notice it anywhere, right? But you have noticed, and you talk to the kids, and for the most part, we have a really good community, primarily Hispanic community, and but the demographics are Hispanic, Caucasian, and some African American, but it's mostly Hispanic. And you do see it happening, but what you do also see is kids kind of standing up for the kid that is getting bullied. Hey, don't say that to him. Don't say that to him. Don't say that to her. Or they kind of stand up for them, and sometimes I don't even have to intervene because they've noticed that, oh, if I'm picking on this kid, then everyone's not going to want to talk to me because I'm being a jerk, I'm being a bully. And so that's and sometimes that's when you pull the kid at the end of the class and say thank you for doing that. You did something really amazing.
Yeah, that's interesting because I mean, from my perspective, I had a chance to speak to. I was invited to Nogales High School, speaking with their high school students. I think they were sophomore and juniors, and the intent was to spread the podcast messaging to these kids. And it was incredible what I learned. I think it was less around bullying than it was just finding their own inner demons in terms of that's part of it. I mean, some of the questions I was asked by an athlete, it's like, well, what I'm a soccer player. What would you say to me in terms of how could you motivate me? And I kind of go back to what Nick Laurie said on the podcast in his episode, where um, he mentions why not you, right? Why not you to be the best athlete on the field, right? So that was helpful. I mean, I was able to get that pretty quickly. But others, we're talking about body image, which is understandable in high school. But the thing that tugged at my soul was this concept of self hurt, and that to me is shook me. It's like, why would you even think that, right? This concept of hurting yourself. And so just curious if that's what if you've seen that as well.
You know, normally students that are getting down that path, luckily we do have, I believe, 2 or 3 social workers. And so if we ever do face that, that's the first thing we want to do. We want to get them to their counselor, first of all, and their counselor, if they feel like they have to refer them to our social worker, they'll get them there. And this all can happen within 45 minutes, like from them leaving my class to get to the counselor, getting to the social worker. And sometimes we don't even send them to the counselor, they go straight to the social worker. And I mean, do kids think of that? Of course, anywhere you go, you're going to see that happening.
Why though? I mean, it wasn't like that. I mean, maybe we're old school, right? But I never had thoughts like this, right?
You know what? Again, it goes back to technology. I think we used to go out and play in the alleys and play basketball to like midnight, and then the lights come on. For us, if we were in a back alley and we were on the behind my house, my parents didn't care how long I was out there, as long as we weren't causing any trouble, right? But and then normally, normally I was with my older brothers, and so or we were with some friends, and my parents knew those friends, and they knew their parents, and so
What was that community?
it was. And the thing is, like, if you're not part of your own community, you establish your own community with your friends. You know what I mean? So like that own community, my parents know their parents, so they no, oh yeah, Jim's over here. Don't worry about it. If I'll go take him if anything. So at that point, it was fine. So a lot of kids don't do that these days. They don't go out and they don't hang out. They get home, they're stuck on their video games. And it's one of the reasons why I'm so adamant about my kids being part of travel baseball, the football team, playing football, just being part of any clubs. So my kids are busy. Like I know we've been going back and forth trying to get on this podcast going, but the fact is that my kids have so much baseball. You know what I mean? Like they were talking about putting a game today, and I was like, oh man, I got a 4 o'clock with Yogi. I don't want to cancel because I've already canceled twice. And luckily it rained, and so they canceled it. But I was almost gonna call you earlier today and be like, hey, I might have to push it back another hour or something.
That's a priority, obviously.
Yeah, and so it's great that my kids are so busy, and yes, they come home. They're upstairs playing video games right now. We just got home from church, and they went upstairs because I wanted it quiet down here, and so yeah, they get to play video games, but they also have a basketball court right outside in my driveway, and so they go and play basketball. So that's what a lot of kids aren't doing. What we had as going to just walking to the park, it's just not happening. If you do walk to the park, what they're doing is they're on their phones. They're on their phones at the park. You know what I mean? Instead of like, I see it in class. Luckily this year we took cell phones completely out of our classrooms. You're not allowed to have them out or whatever. But you had kids in the room sitting next to each other, texting each other. Like, just turn around and talk to the kid. You know what I mean? And so,
What's a reasonable solution? I mean, knowing that that is the problem. I mean, every guest has always said that cell phones are bad, technology is bad. However, is there any practical advice that you can share?
it falls on the parents. Like I'm gonna tell you, there was there's I forget what the brothers are, but there's two football receivers in the NFL. I know one's in the Lions. Oh, the Santos or something. I don't remember, but the father raised these kids up. I mean, to be athletes, and so he was always on them. And one of the quotes that ever stuck with me was he said, "There's no such thing as lazy kids, only lazy parents." And so a lot of falls on the parents. If you're not getting your kids active, you're not, hey, you've been on that TV for an hour. Let's go outside and play baseball, play catch. Or my son's, both my kids are centers on the football team. So they go out there and snap that ball to each other for 20, 30 minutes. And so that's one of the things that it goes back to that saying. If no such thing as lazy kids, only lazy parents. And sometimes it's true.
Well, hopefully that is a wake up call, right? To I call the citizens of YoggNation, the folks that listen to this podcast, because I think again, we're not here to kick you in the what, but it's just small steps that you can take as a parent to improve the livelihood of your kids as they try and deal with the emotions of just how to navigate life, because it is hard.
Being active as a father and as a mother, I mean, as a parent, you have to be that person, because if not, then your kids are going to be lazy. And then, what, one day you're going to walk into their college room and you're going to see a mess in their room and you're like, I didn't raise you like that. Well, mom, you always clean my room for me. And I'm over here now. I have no idea how to wash my underwear or wash my socks and my pants. And so that's what it is too. I mean, sometimes you have to be a little bit of tough love with the kids. So
speaking of tough love, curious what that experience was like working with a personal trainer on The Biggest Loser. So transitioning into that, I am just curious to find out. I mean, what was it like? What was that experience like, Roberto?
And my trainer, Jen Wilderstrom, she's like a sister to me, and I love her to death. But she was a monster on that show, and God bless her. She's a great person and hardworking person, and she expects you to put out the effort that she puts out, and sure enough, from day one, we're out there pushing sleds and running with medicine balls and waking up at 5:30 in the morning to go swim or going for hikes, because she expected her workouts were her workouts, but she expected you to work before she got there. I think her thing was like, you should already have 3 hours of working out by the time I get here. And she would get there either at 9 or 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at the latest. And so we would get up, and the group of her team, we would get up, we'd do a 2 or 3 mile hike behind the beautiful mountain that was right behind the ranch. But before that, we would go on out for a swim out in the pool. It's like 35 degrees, and you're jumping in that pool and swimming for about an hour, and then get up, go eat some breakfast, go and do that hike, and then she get there about 11, and here we go, just to the grind. It was a really tough workout, but it was something that I really loved and enjoyed, and I think when we talked earlier, I mentioned that if I can do something, I always think whether I go back to college or do the show over again, I think I would do the show over 100%, even though college was an amazing time for me.
If you don't mind me asking, Roberto, what led to the weight gain over time that made you audition? You and your brother auditioned on The Biggest Loser.
So we've always been a big bone did. We've always been heavy set boys. But going away to college, we do we first time away from home, and we weren't extremely big when we went to college, but we were big boys because we were football players. So being away from home and then not having the structure of mom every day's cooking and dad's there every day. My dad was a great cook, by the way, too, and so them cooking amazing food. But you're always better off eating at home because you know what you're putting into your food. We go out to college and we have a meal plan, and we can eat whatever they have there 2 or 3 times, whatever we want. So that I think that helped us gain a little bit of weight. So when we graduated college, we came back maybe about 30, 40 pounds heavier than we were when we went in. And that was pushing us over 300 pounds. And then we ended up being in a yo-yo.
Oh, 300 pounds plus. Okay.
Yes.
Refrigerator Perry from the Bears.
Yeah. He's actually, I was gonna put that jersey on today, but I rather put my jersey on. Anyways, he so we gained about 40, maybe even 50 pounds when we graduated college, and then after that we went in a yo-yo. And we call it a yo-yos because we would lose weight and then we would gain it. We would lose it and we would gain it. And it came to the point where we would always watch the show. We thought the show was great, and we always said, if we get on that show, we will win it. We would always say it, and so Lewis put us in the application, and then we didn't make it the first time around because we would have made it if we were singles. It was singles, but since it was a couple thing that we went to, they wanted I'm sorry. It was two of us. They wanted to keep us together. I think they had it in their idea. We're going to call these guys back in a few years later. So that was 2012 and 2015. They sent us the information again. It was the first season. They've had a couple since the last time. And so we made the show. And, at that point, I think I started the show at about 350, but I was about 375 that summer, and I had already lost about 20, 30 pounds before we started doing the show. We applied to the show, and so when I got to the show, I was about 350 pounds. And
well, curious on the show, what did you learn about your inner spirit?
I had an amazing wrestling coach back when I was in high school, and Coach Ecker, may he rest in peace as well. He passed away a couple years back, but Coach Eckert was like a father figure to me. Even though I had my father, but he's another father figure in my life that was he pushed a lot. He pushed me and my brother a lot, and I remember him a lot during the show because his voices would always just come in my head when I wanted to stop working out for Jen. I would hear him, one more lap, come on, one more lap, and so I figured it kicked in. So that wrestler in me helped me. That football player in me helped me a lot in the show, and I was able to get through a lot because I always wanted that success in the sport, and I took that as a sport. Lewis and I went in there thinking, this is our Super Bowl, this is our World Series. Obviously, we wanted to be football players, but NFL players. But after being 5-6 nothing, that wasn't going to happen. So when we were on there, we looked at ourselves as professional athletes, and that was our Super Bowl, and no one was going to beat us.
And how important was to have Louis on the show?
He was my biggest motivator. I was his biggest motivator. We were both on there pushing each other. When he wanted to say, hey, it's already 10 o'clock at night, we already ran 10 miles today, let's go and take a nap, and I'll be like, no, we're doing it one more time.
Wait, this is at 10 o'clock at night?
Yeah, we were not allowed to work out past 11 p.m. After 11 p.m., they closed the gym. but they opened it up whenever we woke up. So we would wake up at 5:30 in the morning. If we wanted to go in there, we can go in there, work out as much as we wanted to. So we worked out. I mean, it's basically it was a full time job. You know, you got up.
No, I'm sorry. Did Jen give you a regimented program, or this is something that you and the other contestants had to do things on your own?
She taught us a lot. She taught us a lot. Yeah. So we knew what she expected from us. So it wasn't like she gave us a certain workout she wanted to. There was times when she did, where she'd be like, "All right, tomorrow I need you guys to do this, and this." But because I'm not going to be able to make it the 6 hours that she would do it. She would come in for 3 hours, and then she would leave, and then come back 3 more hours later. And but sometimes she's like, "I'm not going to be able to be here tomorrow. This is what I want," and so she would leave us the workout already. But it wasn't like, we had like Mondays is legs, Tuesdays is cardio, Wednesdays is something else. No, it wasn't that. It was. She was there every day, so we didn't need that. She would just come in, and she was her own workout regimen, and she would always have everything for us.
But I'm curious. It just reminds me of something, a question that I just want to ask, and that is, how did you overcome pushing your own boundaries and your own limits? Because I think that's something that is universal, whether you are, in the competition of The Biggest Loser, or another endeavor you have in life. And I'm just curious. Could you speak to that?
I hate to lose. I hate to lose. I hate to give up before other people, and I think my brother has the same personality that I have. And I hate losing to Lewis. Lewis hates losing to me, but we hate when either of us lose to someone else. So if Lewis is losing to someone else that was on the show, I would get on him.
That's something you learned from Michael Jordan.
No, I'm telling you, it goes back to the athlete that we are. And so we always told Jen that we were on the wrong season because the season before us was all ex-athletes. The NFL football player, there was a gymnastic person, there was a person that was a softball player, there was a person that played for college football. And so, but we came in there, not that they weren't athletes, it's just I don't think they had the same mentality as athletes as we did. We hated losing to people. And so that was the one thing that was another thing going back to my dad. He would always say, you have to be the hardest worker in the office or in the factory or whatever. You do the best you do what you're doing with what you're doing. And if you don't, then someone else is going to take your spot. And so that was the mentality that we went in there with as well. We hate losing to people. And at times, I'm not going to lie to you, there was times in the room where Lewis had to console me and be like, hey, I know I'm in tears because I miss my family. That was the hardest thing. All the workouts and everything. The hardest thing for me was being away from my family. Same thing with Lewis. And so we're twin brothers, so we're each other's family. But we were missing that other part of our heart, our kids and our wives. And so we leaned a lot on each other and communication, going back and saying, well, what's my feelings today? And I tell you what, we've never done that. We've never said like what my feelings are with his feelings, because we kind of know each other already. We know exactly. So he would know, hey, what's wrong, bro? What's wrong?
So how to tune those dials, right?
Yeah. So he was my backbone. But then uh, episode 6 or 7, he gets voted out, and so now I'm by myself.
I did not know that. Okay.
The rock that I had that was pushing me 100% the whole time when I wanted to quit, now he's gone. And so now that turned from a sports theme to just pure anger and pure, okay, you took my brother away from me. Now you're going to know the real Berto. And so it kicked in another gear in my head that now, okay, you kicked my brother out. It was, we're supposed to be this together at the end. And now it's me against you. And so if before the sports aspect came out of me, this was a Michael Jordan. I'm taking the last shot, and I'm gonna win, and that's basically what it went. Like, give me the ball. I'm gonna.
So that fueled your drive. Because what I'm trying to understand, Roberto, is, and again, what you just shared is just so incredible, so amazing. Hopefully, people can take away a bite-sized nugget of wisdom. But for the person, I guess, that doesn't have that hate to lose mentality, or what you just mentioned, feeling that anger, is there something that you can say to that person, whether they are young or old, as they try to overcome a challenge or an adversity that they're going through, just to either give them a pat on the back or just, kind of give them a kick in the, just to say,
I'm going to steal a line that you said earlier, and this is not why not me? Why can't I be that person that wins the race, or the person that gets the extra bonus, or the person that gets the A in the test? Why not me? God is works in very mysterious ways, and I feel that He's in everything, and so I feel that whether you and then look at little things as victories. Just because I didn't win first prize doesn't mean that second was bad. You know what I mean? Next time I'm going to get the first prize, or the second time I'm going to win the next race. Sometimes little victories in your life mean a lot more than winning a whole bunch of things. You know what I mean? Like winning the race at a high school game, or I mean at a track meet or something. You know what I mean? Sometimes just getting up, like if on the show, I remember that I was I was gonna get eliminated. Well, actually, they gave me 2 pounds. Another contestant ended up giving me 2 pounds added to my weight, and so that means I had to work even harder. And I knew it was going to be me because I wasn't told till the weigh-in, but I knew it was going to be me because we never got along that much. Um, and so I knew it was going to be me. So I had to make sure that I was on top of my game that week, and I got up extra early. I got up and did more workouts. That person left, I stayed. I saw her get up and go into the weight room. Guess what I did? I don't care if I had a full plate of just prepared meal. I left it there and I went. And that was me that whole week. And I tell you what though, winning the show was very rewarding, but winning that episode was more rewarding than anything that I've ever experienced in my life because I knew what I had in me. People just got to know what's in them. They have to know what's in them, and they have to dig in deep. And once they do that, they figure out that, oh, that wasn't that hard. It sucked. It sucked getting there. It was super tough. But you know what? Now that I'm through it, I could do it again. And so, like I said on the show, the first week you run a lap, one block. The next week you run 2 blocks. 3 weeks later, you're running a mile. I mean, so it just starts. It starts with one foot after the other, regardless of what you're doing. Regardless of you might have a big anatomy test coming up. Well, open that first page. Know that first page before you go to the next page, and then read that first page again. Read the second page. Now you know 2 pages. Read that first page, second page. Go on to that third page now, and now you have 3 pages memorized, and now it's going to help you. Regardless, it's always one of the things is like, why not me? Why can't I do that?
So true. So true. Well, Roberto, this is so incredible, so amazing to have you on the podcast. Again, hopefully for those listeners out there, you've certainly heard a lot of good information, something that hopefully you can take note to your own self, right? Because it's all about finding that inner voice within ourselves through the messaging of others. And so hopefully you've been inspired by what Roberto has mentioned. I'll give you the final word, Roberto. Is there anything else that I missed that you would like to share to the citizens of YoggNation, or something that can?
You know what? One of the biggest things for me is faith, and my faith is I'm really big in our faith. Like I said, we got home from church about an hour before we started this. Believe in God, believe in your religion. Be faithful to yourself before anything else, because if you don't believe in what you can do, there's a lot of things that are gonna come down on you, and just keep walking one foot after the other. I really do believe that everything is possible, and like I wake up in the morning, I say my prayers before I go to bed. I say my prayers, and I'm constantly praying throughout the day. And it's one of the things that got me through. That was one of the main things that got me through the show itself. Louis and I every night would say, a few prayers that take us about 20 minutes, and then we wake up in the morning and say it again because we knew whatever was going to be happening that day, God was with us. So God bless everybody out there. Hopefully, everyone can get something out of this. And thank you, Yogi, for having us. It's having me on here. It's been a privilege.
It's been my honor. Thank you, Roberto. Take care.
You have a good one.